Hello and welcome to Sandwich Hour. Alright, I have been trying for a long time to record one of these between ideas for topics and living with four other people and being a student with a job. You know, gets difficult. And there's the idea front was really what's been killing me because on the one hand, there's a lot of very important topics going on worth discussing in the United States where I live. There's the police problems, there's gender equality problems, there's the Patriot Act coming up for renewal. If you haven't seen the John Oliver interview with Edward Snowden, I highly, highly recommend you watch it. I thought about talking about that, but this is a humor channel and it felt a bit out of place. So I recommend you go watch that. I would have only repeated things they've already stated anyway. So, what I want to talk about today is I want to talk about Steven Universe. Now, I only recently gotten into the series, really recently, like a week or so ago. And I know the series finale, no, it's not series, sorry, season finale, came out a while back. And I have a binge watching kind of tendency. So I was like, oh, perfect, I can, start marathoning this thing. I watched Legend of Korra as the last season started to air, and I watched it from the first season, and then I caught up in no time. I marathon Homestuck in a month, so I was like, this is perfect. I can, get into this now. There's a lot there. I don't have to wait for episodes to come out. And I just finished the 25th episode, so anyone who hasn't watched Steven Universe yet, spoilers. Everyone else on the internet either doesn't care or has already seen this. So I just want to talk about some things that I've noticed about the series that I think make the series very interesting and different, which is important. There has been a lot of shows that I watched growing up. The message, one of the central themes was the ability to overcome obstacles, and Steven Universe has that too, but it's very different. Steven Universe. One of my favorite shows growing up, for example, was Dragon Ball Z. And Goku and Vegeta and Trunks and all them. They train and they train. If they could just get stronger, when the bad guys showed up, they could fight it out. And, through their hard work, they would become strong enough to overcome any obstacle. And Steven Universe has themes like that, like hard work, and, Steven's trying to master his magical powers, but he doesn't want to fight. That's what's different about Steven. In the first episode you see his shield for the first time. That's his magical weapon. Whereas Garnet has gauntlets, Pearl has a spear, Amethyst has a whip, Steven gets a shield. And, my first thought, being a fan of Marvel comics, is, oh, he's gonna be like a Captain America kind of guy, blocks, throw the shield around, it's gonna be cool. And he doesn't get it. Doesn't get his shield for a long time. He doesn't know how to work his magical powers. The first time he actually really successfully does it is when he makes a barrier to defend him and the girl Connie. That's her name, right? I'm bad with names. But, so then he saves them, but they get stuck in the bubble. So then it's kind of like an Invisible Woman kind of deal, where she makes force fields and stuff. But Steven's different than Captain America and the Invisible Woman because he is purely defensive. When he first manifests his shield, in his own control, not in the first episode where he accidentally makes it and launches it, he's fighting Lapis, and he says, I don't want to fight anymore. And then the shield comes out. Steven is a pacifist. And that's so different, excuse me, from almost every other show. Ooh, sorry, I got something's going with her. Goku and the Z Warriors, they always fought their way through their problems. They always trained and they fought hard and they solved their problems. Well, their problems were of violent nature, but they solved their problems through violence. Peter Parker, Spider-Man, he would fight against the bad guys all the time. People fought. I understood as a kid, sometimes people fight. And I was told growing up by my dad, fighting isn't the answer. You shouldn't have to solve your problems with fighting. But if you have to, be prepared to. You don't solve violence, but if someone comes at you violently, be ready. Don't just lie down and take it. But Steven's whole character is all about not being violent. He wants to talk everyone down. He talks Lapis down. He's able to get her to bring the ocean back by talking, by working their problems out like mature people, mature adults. Well, aliens and a half alien child person, but point remains. Whereas like I said, I'm a binge watcher. I've and as a personal tradition, I'm always far behind the times. I've only recently gotten into Firefly, and that would be the shows I've recently got into were Archer, Firefly, and Steven Universe in that order. And I haven't finished Firefly because I'm watching with other people, so I'm waiting for them. But anyway, to compare Steven as a protagonist to Captain Reynolds and to Sterling Archer. Okay, let's not compare him to Sterling Archer. That would be completely ridiculous. But to Captain Reynolds, Captain Reynolds, works with a team of people, much like Steven. Steven's not the leader, where Captain Reynolds is, they approach problems very differently. In the first episode, when Captain Reynolds is boarding Serenity and the Alliance lawman is holding River hostage, he just walks in, shoots the lawman, saving River. No questions, just not like, let's calm down. No, he just shoots him right in the head. No waiting around, and then he and Jane dump the body. Whereas Steven would have spoken this guy down. Steven would have handled the situation. The other gems and people would have thought he was crazy for trying to talk to this guy with a gun pointed to someone's head. And then, with Steven being the lead here in this scenario, the lawman would have put the gun away, left of his own accord, and not called the Alliance troops out of feeling like it's the right thing to do. Steven, as a character, is teaching kids that there are non-violent ways to solve problems. Heroes shouldn't have to fight. And that's very, very interesting, very different than anything I can think of growing up. Even in one of the shows I really loved as a kid, Cardcaptor Sakura, which the dub was really bad, had that sort of lesson, but more often than not, they would still have to fight. They would still be battling against this magical force that didn't know what it was doing, that was scared and confused, and they had to catch it before they could calm it down. Whereas Steven just walks up to this giant torrent of water floating into space and just says, "I'm coming to talk to you. Don't kill me, please." And she doesn't. It's completely different than any other show I've seen, And I don't know if any other shows are currently employing this trend, but I really hope they are. It's a completely different mindset that kids could look at. I've always had the idea that, if I had to fight, I need to fight. That's what Goku would do. That's what Luffy would do. It's what Captain Reynolds would do. And Steven wouldn't. And that, at its core, and I'm glad we're having shows in many more works with more strong female leads. We've definitely needed that in our media, but that is not what makes Steven Universe different from other shows. Your central character being a pacifist is what makes it different from other shows. Because, it's even different than video games. Especially from video games. You can play video games being nonviolent. You can play Fallout and speech your way through everything, but it's a much harder game than getting a gun, playing very evil, and just shooting down everyone in your way. Steven has the whole episode with the being strong in the real way, and being able to speak with people and to solve problems non-violently, I'd say is being strong in the real way. And that's your sandwich hour for the day. Steven Universe, strong for being passive.